Hi, everyone. Ron Nicoletti, along with my buddy Christina Bossinakis. We're going to take a look at some really nice races we have on Saturday, and we have 3 stakes races and a maiden race we want to talk about. The first one we'll talk about is race number 4. We'll go in order. This one, 1 mile and 1/16th on the turf. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, $150,000. It's the Grade 3, the Marshua's River.
A couple of horses I really like in here, and a couple of them run that I'm very familiar with seeing a year in and year out and throughout the season, and including Sandiva from the Todd Pletcher barn. And she's an interesting filly, Ron, because a couple of wins here at Gulfstream Park last winter. She hasn't visited the winner's circle in 4 starts since, although she did come back in November off of a pretty long layoff, and she was a very good third. And you were actually there that day at Gulfstream Park West. Tell me what happened that day.
That was the My Charmer handicap, and there was some trouble with the tack early on, so she had to stay in the paddock longer than they wanted. She got a little hot and a little bothered and everything like that. She finished third in that race. I was talking to Todd Pletcher about it, and he said she hung a little bit in that race. She loves this course. I think she's going to bounce back today. I think she's the one to beat in here, and she's working beautifully at Palm Beach Downs.
I had a chance to speak to him just a few moments ago, and he was talking. One thing that stood out to me, between June and November, she was off, and he said they just felt that she needed a little bit of time. She had a tough campaign over in Europe. Also, she had been racing month after month here in the United States. They gave her that time off. She's kind of a little bit of a wiry filly. She doesn't carry a lot of flesh, but very, very good filly. So she's one, as you said, doing super, super well, and I'm looking for her really to come back and run a big race.
You know, another horse I've had some interest in there was the 2 Partisan Politics. This one is debuting locally after getting parked. This horse, if you look at its last race, was parked 8 wide that day, and that was in the Grade 2. Finished 5th in a race. That was the Grade 2 Miss Revere, which was contested at Churchill Downs, and it was a really soft turf course that day. It was listed as good, but there was a lot of rain. Trainer Chad Brown, you always got to watch him. He's got Irod Ortiz Jr. in Saturday, to ride this horse.
Well, Chad Brown also has Hope Cross in there as well, and this is another mare. I like her when based on numbers. I'm a numbers gal.
Yeah.
She's actually has pretty good numbers, pretty consistent. She has a victory back at Belmont earlier, I should say late last year. A couple of second-place efforts. She finished behind Tutti Paesi, but Ron, let's just talk about the speed in here. It looks like Quiet Kitten. She's got the speed. Does anybody else have speed in there?
No, she might be the controlling speed in here. And if you watch the races here at Gulfstream Park during the championship meet over the last couple of days, speed has been good on the turf course. So we'll see how that plays out. And that's always an angle. And this being the 4th race, you'll get to watch a couple of turf races earlier on and maybe make that, choice if you want to go with speed in that race. But I still think that Sandiva is the one to beat.
I agree with you. Numbers, she's the one to beat. Versatility, I think she's really going to be tough in there. Looking ahead to a race that really has implications for the Dawn Handicap, Grade 1 race early in February, the 7th race, Ron. It's the Hal's Hope.
Yeah, 1 mile, 4-year-olds and up, $150,000. It's a Grade 3 event in there. And Matru on the inside looks really strong in it. It's going to depart from the rail after following her victory in the 7-furlong Grade 3 Bold Ruler handicap with a really game 3rd place finish behind superstar Tonalist. That was in the Grade 1 Cigar Mile. Again, Chad Brown, Irod Ortiz. Looks like the one to beat on the inside. I like that inside post going a mile here.
Well, you mentioned Tonalist, winner of the Belmont Stakes, and that was a couple years back. And another horse that came out of that race, Mashawish. Again, here we've got trainer Todd Pletcher. We've got Al Shakab Racing, who campaigns this horse, same as Sandiva earlier in the day. And we were talking about the dirt angle. This horse ran 4th on the dirt last time in the Cigar Mile. He's a Grade 1 winner on the turf. Todd Pletcher says this horse actually trains phenomenally on the dirt. And again, it looks like that last race was a pretty good one. He's bred for the dirt, too.
And they're sort of going to judge his future to see how he runs in this race, if they'll keep him on the main track. I think he can run very well in there. He's got a lot of class. But, boy, there's a nice horse in here called Valid. Is going to be the number 4. He's a winner of 6 of 11 races on this track. Turning back to a mile after dueling from start to finish, holding on gamely to win the $100,000 Harlan's Holiday across down at Gulfstream Park West. This is the old horse for course angle.
Yeah, sure is. A horse that I'm always fond of, and I'm fond of watching Mr. Jordan. Eddie Pliza trains this one. And Ron, he actually won at Gulfstream Park, and that was last year. And I also saw him win the Pegasus up at Monmouth Park. Filled out over the summer beautifully when I saw him last time up in New Jersey. I'm excited to see him. He's the speed in here. He's got speed.
You took the words. He's the speed of the speed in that race. And if he gets loose on the front, he could be very, very dangerous in there.
So we look on to the 8th race, and these are the races I love. Here are the maidens, and they're a mile and an eighth which is a little bit of an unusual distance in terms of first time. You have several first time starters, but these are 3-year-olds. And what did you make of this race?
Well, I went with the number 6 in here, Majesto. It was a half-brother to a $1 million earner called Overanalyzed, stretching out to 1 mile and an eighth, as you mentioned, after shipping it from Belmont, finishing a fast closing second at 1 mile and a 16th. So he's proven commodity here at Gulfstream Park West. Gustavo Delgado, Irad Ortiz Jr. in the saddle today. And I just thought Majesto, off that previous experience, was the one to beat. But I know you spoke to Todd a little earlier, and he's got horses in here like Gettysburg.
Yeah, he does. And Gettysburg also came out of that same race. As Ron mentioned, Majesto. They finished behind a horse named Neolithic. That's another horse from the Todd Pletcher barn, a very well-meant horse for Starlight Racing. And Todd mentioned with Gettysburg, you can totally throw out that debut. He got nothing out of that. Last time, in his mind, at least in Todd Pletcher's mind, that last race was this colt's debut. He thought it was a pretty good one, very, very solid. He did take the money, Pioneer of the Nile, same pedigree, that's the same sire as American Pharaoh, and $425,000 is what he cost at Keeneland September. So very well-meant horse, and I would not be surprised to see this horse take a big step forward.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to take that step forward today. As I mentioned, went with Majesto. I just thought off that performance here. Horse that had some interest all the way on the outside, Conquest Sandman, shifting to the main track, really ran a promising performance, going 9 furlongs on the turf. They take him right off the turf after one start, put him on the main track. Just a really exciting maiden race, one of the exciting maiden races on Saturday.
And how good is Mark Cassidy these days? He was really, really doing well late in 2015. He seems to have picked up really at the same pace in 2016. So Scat Daddy, the sire, Conquest Sandman. And then we have the Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, this one, grade 2, 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf, $200,000, 4-year-old and upward. The morning line favorite in this race is going to be the inside horse, and what a nice horse this is. Now I'm talking about Lochte.
Lochte 5 for 9 at Gulfstream, on the Gulfstream turf, and in grade 1 winner. So what can we say about Lochte? He loves the turf course. Now, in terms of post position, in terms of the distance, what are you thinking?
I think he's such a, attractable horse that they can put him where they want in here. And I think the key is he's got Javier Castellano in the saddle today. Looks like the one to beat. But there is a horse in here called War Correspondent who runs exceptionally well fresh, makes his first start since winning the 1 mile grade 3 Appleton here last March. He also, we mentioned Mashowers. He ran behind Mashowers last year in the grade 1 Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap. It's Christophe Clement. That was last February. Christophe Clement certainly can get this horse ready to run.
I love this colt. And I have to say, I've seen him on a couple of occasions in the flesh. He's a beautiful colt. He's beautifully bred. He's by Warfront. He's a full brother to a European Group 1 winner, and that is Declaration of War. And again, you have to see this colt. He's just a beauty. But you mentioned finished behind Mashawish, also behind Slumber. He's also a grade 1 winner. 2 starts back, came back last time. He beat a nice horse, Arapica, in that back in March in the Appleton. Now, it's a long ways off, but I think Christoph's really good with horses coming back.
Yeah, and this horse has proven he's done it in the past, so he can certainly do it again. I like him a lot. Neil Lochte is sort of a favorite of mine, but I think that War Correspondent's got to be somewhere on your ticket.
Any long shots in here that you think might have a chance?
Well, the only other horse I liked in here, I liked all of them in here actually, was Takeover Target, who won the Grade 2 Hall of Fame at this distance at Saratoga in August. Turns back after drawing away. He wins the 9 furlong Grade 3 Hill Prince on a soft turf at Belmont Park. Guess what? It's Chad Brown. I think you got to have this one on your ticket.
I think Heart to Heart is one you're going to want to throw into the mix in there. All included last time, ran on a very, very, it looked like a very soggy going, and we can throw that 5th place effort last time. But again, a couple of horses. I'm going to stick with War Correspondent in there.
I like your pick in there. I'm going to go with Lochte and War Correspondent. I'm going to go with the Exacta box.
So a really fun day. And Ron, we have so many choices, but who's your best selection? Who do you think is your top pick for that day in the stakes?
I'm almost, I want to say Lochte in there, but I'm sort of partial to using Lochte and War Correspondent. I really can't separate them, but I'm going to go with Lochte.
Okay, Lochte, I'm going to go with War Correspondent, and a wonderful day of racing on Saturday, and the feature of Fort Lauderdale. So good day of racing.
Yeah, we'll be down.